I welcome all the viewers to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. If you're interested in watching boring history in a new way, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoy the video, don't forget to like and share it too. Take a moment to relax. Let your eyes gently close, if they haven't already. Allow your shoulders to soften. Feel the comfort of your bed supporting you. Let the quiet of your room wrap around you like a warm blanket. Breathe in slowly. Then, breathe out. Let the tension melt from your body, just like snow disappearing under sunlight. There is nowhere you need to be right now. Nothing you need to solve or finish. This is your time to rest, to drift, to listen. Let this story carry you to a peaceful place. A place full of calm, curiosity, and the soft rhythm of an old world settling in for the night. Our story begins in the quiet hills of a forgotten countryside. There, built of stone and silence, rests a monastery from long ago. Its towers rise slowly above the mist. Its walls are covered in ivy and thyme. Inside, a soft golden glow spills from high windows, and just beyond the courtyard, where the breeze moves gently through the herbs and moss, stands the library. This library is not like the ones we know today. It smells of parchment and warm wax. It is lined with shelves made by hand. The walls are thick with scrolls, bound books, and tiny bottles of ink. The ceiling beams creak with the memory of centuries. This is a place of peace, built for reading and writing. It is a place where silence is not empty, but full of thought, where monks once spent hours copying sacred texts and old stories onto delicate pages by candlelight. And though those monks have gone to rest for the night, one quiet soul is still awake. Her name is Bryn. She is a striped tabby cat. She walks softly through the library, her paws making no sound on the stone floor. Her fur blends with the shadows. Her eyes shine with calm curiosity, catching the flicker of a nearby flame. Bryn is more than a cat. She is the guardian of the library. She keeps watch when the scribes sleep. She listens to the whispers that live between the books. And yes, she keeps the mice away from the precious scrolls, just as cats did in medieval times. The fire in the hearth has burned low. Orange embers glow in the ashes. A small kettle sits beside it, still warm from evening tea. The last bell of the day has rung. The monastery is quiet. This is Bryn's favorite time. She stretches, slow and long, beside a heavy wooden table. The candlelight plays across her back. Her whiskers twitch as she smells the air. There is parchment, there is ink, and there is something else. A faint scent behind the wall. Mouse. But tonight Bryn does not chase. Tonight, she listens. She walks between the shelves, weaving around the legs of chairs and stacks of vellum. Some scrolls are tied with red thread. Others are wrapped in silk. One shelf holds books written in languages no one reads anymore. Bryn pauses beside a thick book with a deep red cover. Its corners are marked with gold leaf, now faded. Stamped on the spine are two words in Latin: Herbarium, 1293. She nudges the cover open with her nose. The pages inside are hand-drawn pictures of herbs. Each one is labeled in neat, tiny writing. Lavender, used to help with sleep. Valerian, brewed into teas for calm minds. Chamomile, placed in pillows to chase away worry. Bryn brushes her cheek. Along the edge of the page, she knows this book. She knows them all. Monks used to spend entire seasons copying books like these, letter by letter. They believed that the act of writing could bring them closer to the divine. They believed knowledge lived in silence, and that silence kept it safe. The page turns gently in the breeze from a high window. Bryn listens, not with her ears, but with something deeper. The books are not speaking, not quite, but they are breathing. She can feel it. Books that old begin to hum when no one is watching. Their words sleep inside the paper. Their stories stretch like cats in the sun. And Bryn, quiet and still, knows how to hear them. She curls beside the open book, the scent of pressed herbs in the air. Outside, wind moves through the ivy on the windowsill. A candle flickers. The wooden shelves give a gentle creak. Bryn does not move. She watches the candle flame. It dances without sound. She knows every corner of this library, every drawer, every cubby, every secret door hidden behind books no one touches anymore. And she knows which shelves are warm from the fire, which ones have the softest dust, which books dream the loudest. She rises slowly and walks toward the old astronomy shelf. Maps of the stars are rolled up and stacked like scrolls. Some are painted with blue and gold, showing constellations drawn by monks who believed the sky could guide the spirit. Bryn walks past them without a sound. Near the corner, tucked beside an inkpot and a small wooden bowl of lavender buds, she finds it, a scroll tied with crimson thread. The wax seal is shaped like a lion. Written beneath it in delicate ink are the words, "The dreams of Brother Aldrich." She touches the ribbon with her paw. The scroll unrolls slightly. A faint scent rises from the parchment. Sandalwood. Bryn rests her chin beside it. The fire crackles. Quietly the wind hums through the window, and the scroll begins to whisper. The story inside has waited a very long time. The scroll of Brother Aldrich holds something different. Not a story meant for the outside world, not a record of kings or battles, but something smaller, quieter, a dream captured on parchment. Bryn breathes it in. The writing is gentle, like the soft trace of a feather over skin. Brother Aldrich had written about the gardens in his sleep. He dreamed of roses that bloomed in moonlight, of bees that hummed in perfect harmony, of vines that curled up the legs of wooden benches to listen to whispered prayers. He wrote that the garden knew things, that it remembered every footstep, every voice that ever passed through. He said he once dreamed of sitting beside Saint Benedict himself, sharing warm tea while the basil leaves danced in the breeze. The scroll doesn't say much, just fragments. But in the quiet of the library, Bryn can feel the weight of those words, like a lullaby that was never meant to end. She nudges the parchment closed. It sighs faintly as it rolls back into place. The seal glows in the candlelight, then fades to stillness. Bryn steps away, her tail curling gently behind her. She moves toward the far wall now, where a small wooden door stands half hidden behind. A tapestry. It is the oldest part of the library, where very few walk anymore. The door has no lock. It does not need one. Behind it is a narrow staircase, spiraling downward into the cool dark. Bryn takes the steps one at a time, her paws never making a sound. Down below, the air is cooler. Still, it smells of stone and old ash. This is the archive, the heart of the library. Shelves carved straight into the walls hold rolled scrolls wrapped in linen. Clay tablets rest beside them, etched with marks from long ago. A single lantern hangs from a hook in the ceiling, casting a gentle golden ring across the floor. Bryn steps into the light. It pools around her like warm honey. Here, the quiet is deeper. Even the mice stay away. She walks toward a familiar chest near the far wall. Its lid is carved with vines and stars, and a faded inscription in Latin. To be opened only by those who listen. Bryn has no keys. She needs none. The lid lifts easily. Inside, wrapped in silk, are 7 books. Each one is bound in soft leather. Each one holds a different language, and every single one is blank. At least, they appear blank. Bryn knows better. She steps carefully into the chest, between the folds of silk. Her whiskers twitch. Her ears tilt slightly to one side. She hears the faintest sound, like wind through tall grass, like humming from another room. She presses her nose to the spine of the first book, and she waits. Slowly, words begin to appear across the page. They don't come like ink. They come like fog, lifting, like mist parting on a meadow. The book is telling her something. A story about a sailor who once traded a feather from a phoenix for a song written in moonlight. Another story about a monk who planted a garden using only dreams and watered it with silence. There are no dates, no maps, only quiet memories, kept safe in the dark, waiting for someone to listen. Bryn rests beside the open book. Her tail curls around her body. Her breathing slows. Above her, the lantern flickers once, then steadies. She does not sleep, not yet, but her eyes begin to close, just a little. Somewhere far above, the bells chime again. It is the hour when even the stars begin to yawn. Bryn stays curled beside the book for a long time. She listens, not with her ears, but with the stillness in her chest, the calm in her breath. Outside the thick stone walls, the wind hums through the garden. Lavender moves gently in the night. The ivy climbs without hurry, and the moon watches in silence. Back in the scriptorium, the candles have burned low. The scent of melting wax fills the air. The library is full of dreams now, some tucked into scrolls, some pressed between pages, some too small to write down, but all of them kept safe. Bryn stands once more and leaves the chest open behind her. She knows the books will close themselves when the time is right. She returns to the stairs. Each step upward feels warmer. As she reaches the top, the air begins to smell again of ink and wood smoke. She steps out into the main room. A single monk has returned, a soft blanket around his shoulders, a cup of warm milk in his hands. He doesn't speak. He sees Bryn and simply smiles. He lights a fresh candle. Its glow soft and steady, then walks slowly to his desk, pulls out a sheet of parchment, and begins to write. Bryn watches for a moment, then walks to her favorite window seat. The cushion there is old and faded, but it's warm and it smells like home. She circles once, then again, then settles down. She watches the wind move outside. The trees sway gently in the moonlight. A single leaf floats by the glass. She blinks. She watches the wind move outside. The trees sway gently in the moonlight. A single leaf floats by the glass. She blinks, then blinks again, slower. And finally, she closes her eyes. In the soft quiet of early night, the monastery settles deeper into stillness. Outside, the stars shine like tiny lanterns. No wind rattles the windows. No footsteps echo in the halls. Even the bells sleep now. Inside the library, Bryn dreams. She dreams without movement. Her ears are still. Her tail rests in a soft curl round her body. But in her mind, she drifts through pages, across stairwells, beneath low arches. She walks through the halls of memory. In her dream, the library glows with morning sun. Warm gold spills across the flagstones. The scent of bread from the monastery kitchen fills the air. The scribes are young. Their robes are unstained. They laugh softly as they write, hands careful but relaxed. Bryn sits beneath one of their chairs. She watches a drop of ink fall from a quill. It lands on a sheet beside a poem, and the monk smiles. He lets it stay. That spot, Bryn knows, will still be there hundreds of years later. The poem is about a ship that sails across clouds. Its sails are made of linen and light. Its crew speaks only in songs. Bryn curls tighter in her sleep. Back in the present, the fire has nearly gone out. Only a few coals glow, like quiet eyes watching the room. The monk who had returned earlier has finished writing. His parchment is now filled with soft lines of text, a reflection, maybe, or a prayer. He folds it neatly, places it under a smooth stone, and leaves without sound. The candle by his desk continues to burn. Its flame flickers but does not go out as the hours pass. The library remains wrapped in peace, and then, a sound, very soft, very light, a scratching noise behind the far shelf, a whisper of movement near the ink barrels. Bryn does not wake, not fully, but one ear twitches. The scratching stops. The mice here are clever, but Bryn is part of the library, as natural and steady as the stone itself. The mice will wait until morning. They always do. Bryn's dream shifts. She is in the herb garden now. The sky above is lavender gray, the air filled with the scent of thyme, sage, and rosemary. Monks in brown robes move slowly between raised beds. One pauses to water a plant with a wooden ladle. Another hums a hymn Bryn doesn't recognize. She pads between the garden rows. The ground is soft beneath her paws. Tiny moths flit above the mint leaves. In the center of the garden stands a statue, a tall figure with open hands. Time has worn away its face, but flowers grow at its feet, wild violets and poppies. Bryn steps onto the statue's pedestal. From there, she can see the whole garden, and beyond it, the bell tower. It's a dream, she knows, but it feels real. She feels the warmth of sun on her back. She hears the quiet buzzing of bees moving from flower to flower, and then a low chime. Far away, deep and slow, a bell rings once. It isn't the hour bell, not the regular call to prayer. This one is special, only used for certain days. Or certain dreams. Bryn opens her eyes. The library is still dim, the candle by the desk burning lower now. She stretches slowly. Her front paws reach forward. Her back arches high. She yawns. Then she steps down from the window seat. Landing softly on the stone floor, she moves back toward the center of the room, past the scrolls, past the shelf of pressed flowers, past the hanging globe that shows the known world. She stops before a small chest, one made of walnut wood, with brass corners and a tiny carved lock. This chest is almost always closed, but tonight, it is open. Inside, lined with dark blue velvet, is a single book. Bryn knows this book. It is the oldest in the monastery, older than the walls, older than the well in the courtyard, even older than the script painted above the chapel door. Its cover is cracked with age. The leather is worn smooth by countless hands. Its pages are delicate but strong. No one reads it anymore, not because it is forbidden, but because no one remembers how. The language has been lost. The letters are shaped like vines and river stones, the meaning long forgotten. Except by Bryn, she steps closer. The book's cover lifts, not by wind, not by hand, but by memory. It opens to the first page, where a single symbol glows softly. Bryn sits before it, her breathing slows again. She watches. The book begins to shimmer. The letters do not move, but they begin to feel like music, not to the ears, but to the space behind thought. A soft rhythm, like rain falling into leaves. A quiet hum, like the earth turning beneath a garden. The book speaks without sound. It tells a story not written in words, but in warmth. Bryn blinks once. Slowly, she lies down in front of the book, not to read it, but to be near it, to remember, to listen. To rest. The candle by the desk flutters. The shadows grow longer, and the monastery sleeps. The story continues without her, but for now, she rests. The books are safe. The night is still, and the dreams of the library drift gently into the dark. Then blinks again, slower. And finally, she closes her eyes. The story continues without her, but for now, she rests. The books are safe. The night is still. End. The dreams of the library drift gently into the dark. She watches the wind move outside. The trees sway gently in the moonlight. A single leaf floats by the glass. She blinks, then blinks again, slower. And finally, she closes her eyes. The story continues without her, but for now, she rests. The books are safe. The night is still, and the dreams of the library drift gently into the dark. The hours pass gently. The candle finally fades, its wick curling into a small crown of smoke. A thin line rises and disappears into the wooden beams above. Bryn does not stir. She lies in the same spot, beside the open book, with its quiet glow, her breathing steady and slow. Outside, the sky is beginning to change. The black of night turns into deep blue. The stars dim behind thin clouds. The wind moves gently across the cloister, lifting the scent of rosemary and rain-damp stone. It is nearly morning, but the monastery has not yet woken. This hour, this in-between time, belongs to those who know how to wait. Bryn stretches again, a soft pull through her shoulders, a gentle flick of her tail. She rises and gives a small shake. Then she begins her rounds. The library is her world, and she tends to it with care. She walks between the tall shelves, stopping at each corner, each favorite place, the poetry shelf, where some of the oldest pages have tiny pressed petals inside. The music corner, with scrolls marked by delicate lines and old notes once sung by candlelight. The history case, filled with leather-bound volumes too heavy for any one person to lift. Bryn checks them all. Nothing is out of place. No paper left open. No wax spilled. No mouse too bold. She returns to the scriptorium, where the desks are still covered in half-finished pages. Here, the monks do their work. They copy prayers and poems, translating forgotten languages into words meant to last. Their quills sit waiting. In tiny carved stands, the inkpots are sealed with beeswax lids. Each parchment is weighed down with a smooth stone to keep it from curling as it dries. Bryn jumps softly onto one of the chairs. From here, she can see the whole room, the fire, the windows, the candle racks, the sacred silence. She remembers the younger days of this library, when she was only a kitten, curled inside a monk's sleeve, too small to understand anything but warmth and voice. She remembers falling asleep beside ink-stained fingers. She remembers being carried from desk to desk, as the monks joked about her being the only one who never made spelling errors. They would leave tiny bits of cheese near her bed. They would hum while they wrote, and sometimes whisper their words aloud, not knowing she was listening. She remembers the day she found her way into the archives for the first time. A narrow gap behind a shelf, a loose stone that gave way, and beyond it, the cool stillness of ancient knowledge. No one taught her where to go. She simply knew, because the library had chosen her. She was not here by accident. She had arrived the way all important things do, quietly, without fanfare, like a single snowflake falling in the middle of a still night. Bryn blinks slowly. Outside, the first threads of light stretch across the courtyard. It is morning now, but the world has not yet stirred. The monks will rise soon. They will gather in the chapel, their voices joining in morning song. The library will fill again with the soft sound of writing. Chairs will scrape gently across the floor. A bell will chime, once from the eastern wall, and Bryn will slip into the background. She is never in the way. She is simply part of the rhythm, like breath, like candlelight, like memory. She jumps down from the chair and pads toward the garden door. It stands half open, letting in the cool scent of dawn. She steps outside. The courtyard is quiet, blanketed in dew. Stone pathways glisten in the early light. The lavender bushes sway gently. The fountain trickles beside the herb beds. A few birds chirp softly, testing their voices. Bryn walks the path in a wide circle. She pauses near the sundial, then under the arches where the monks hang their robes to dry. She passes the rose wall, where bees will soon return, drawn by the warm light to come. Finally, she reaches the edge of the garden, where a small wooden bench sits beneath a pear tree. She leaps onto it and curls up once again. Her body warms quickly against the old wood. The scent of pear blossoms drifts through the air. She can hear the monastery beginning to wake, footsteps in the hall, the sound of water being poured, the soft murmur of robes being folded. And then, a single low bell. The monks are gathering. The library will open. The day will begin. But Bryn stays where she is. She knows her work is done. For now, she has watched. She has listened. She has guarded the stories in the quiet hours of the night. They are safe again. For one more day. As the first true sunlight breaks across the roof tiles, she closes her eyes. The warmth of the bench, the peace of the garden, the hum of a place where stories are kept alive. It is enough. And as the wind moves softly through the branches above, Bryn drifts into sleep once more. The sun now rests fully above the hills, casting warm gold across the monastery's stone walls. The bell tower glints faintly. The ivy glows green and alive, and the monastery begins to breathe in its quiet way. The chapel fills first. The monks gather with slow, practiced steps. Their robes whisper against the floors. Their voices rise like a wave, soft, steady, rising, and then falling back into stillness. No words are rushed. Nothing is loud. Their chant carries through the corridors, brushing the edges of the scriptorium, spilling softly into the garden. Bryn sleeps through most of it. She lies curled on the bench beneath the pear tree, her body tucked into its smallest shape, her ears twitching once or twice at a distant footstep, but otherwise still. The warmth of the morning sun feels like a second blanket. The scent of blossoms fills the air. Tiny birds skip along the stone path, and above, the sky stretches wide and soft. By the time the chant ends, Bryn stirs. She yawns slowly. One paw reaches forward. She rises and stretches, her back arching gently, her tail lifting. Then she hops down. She takes her time crossing the garden. She pauses near the fountain to drink. The water is cool, fresh from the spring beneath the monastery. It trickles through carved stone shaped like vines and grapes, etched long ago by hands now forgotten. Bryn drinks slowly, then lifts her head and blinks toward the light. The day has begun. Inside the scriptorium, the monks have returned to their desks. Their quills dip and glide. Paper rustles softly. Every sound is small, careful, part of the rhythm. The librarian, Brother Elric, walks the shelves with a list in hand. He reads it once, then folds it into his robe. He knows every book by weight, by scent, by the way the pages sound when turned. Bryn passes behind him without being seen. She knows where to go. The south wall has just been dusted. A new scroll was added the evening before, a translation from Greek, carefully bound with golden thread. She steps up to the low table nearby and settles there, her paws tucked beneath her tail curled close. She listens, not to the monks, to the shelves. Some books hum, some sleep, some carry old laughter, others weep in silence. Bryn listens for changes. She senses when a book feels forgotten, when it longs to be opened again, when it remembers a hand that used to hold it every day. She is the only one who knows. She is the keeper of memories left behind. One of the monks hums quietly while he works. It is a song Bryn remembers from years ago, a lullaby sung to a sick novice in the winter. The notes drift into the rafters and linger there. She lets the sound carry her thoughts. She thinks of the bell tower, of the room with the candles used to mark time, where the monks light one each hour, watching as the wax drips, measuring the day with soft fire. She remembers lying in the candle room as a kitten, watching the flames dance. Each flicker felt like a heartbeat. Each drop of wax a quiet footstep through time. She rises now, walking slowly toward the corridor that leads to the tower. It is cooler there, the stones smoother beneath her paws. The door is open. Inside, the tall brass stand still holds the day's candles, lined up in careful order, labeled in Latin. One candle burns at the top, its wax trailing down in slow threads. It is almost finished. Bryn watches a small pile of wax pools in the dish below. It looks like a flower opening. Brother Cassian, the timekeeper, steps into the room behind her. He carries the next candle in both hands, as if holding something sacred. He nods at Bryn. On time again, he whispers. Bryn does not move. She stays by the candle until the flame dies. Brother Cassian carefully replaces it with the new one, strikes a spark, and sets the wick aglow. The flame flickers, then steadies. Time begins again. Bryn turns and walks back down the corridor, past the open windows, past the stacks of empty ink jars waiting to be filled, past the mural of St. Jerome and the lion. She returns to the library, to the desk by the western wall. This is where Brother Tomos copies illuminated letters, giant, glowing shapes at the start of each page. He paints them in gold and blue and deep crimson, shaping vines and birds into the curls of every capital. Bryn jumps onto the edge of the table, careful not to disturb the tools. Brother Tomos smiles at her. You again, he says, gently brushing her ear with the side of one finger. I was wondering when you'd visit. Bryn rests near the paint pots. She watches as he draws a sleeping fox into the loop of the letter. Oh, the fox's eyes are closed. Its tail curls round itself like a spiral. Bryn tilts her head. The fox is almost exactly her shape. Brother Tomos glances at her, then back at his page. It's you, of course, he says softly. I thought you'd like to be remembered. Bryn blinks slowly, then lays her head on her paws. She does not need thanks, or names, or stories told aloud. She simply needs the books to be safe, the quiet to remain whole, the library to breathe, and, as long as she is here, it will asterisk. The day moves quietly on. The sun reaches its highest point. Its light pours through the arched windows, casting long patterns across the library floor. Dust motes float in golden shafts of sunlight, turning the air into a gentle shimmer. Bryn lies still on the desk, beside the paints and parchment. She watches the light move across the floorboards, slow and steady, as if the day itself is walking. Brother Tomos works beside her. He paints with quiet focus, the brush gliding gently across vellum. A green vine winds around the edge of the page, its leaves curling toward the corners like reaching hands. At the base of the letter, he adds a small bird, that it looks like it's sleeping. Bryn blinks once. She has seen many pages like this before, some filled with saints and dragons, others with stars, towers, and flowers that only bloom in dreams. But every image begins the same way, with one careful stroke, one breath, one drop of ink meeting silence. Outside, the monastery garden warms beneath the afternoon sun. The bees return to the lavender. The leaves shift softly in the breeze. A bell chimes once for midday meal. The monks rise slowly from their desks. They gather in the corridor with calm steps and lowered voices. Bryn watches them go. She knows the rhythm of their lives, the way one moment folds gently into the next. She feels it in her own movements. There is no rush here, no sharp corners, only the slow unfolding of peaceful days. When the room is empty, Bryn hops down from the desk. She walks between the shelves, her whiskers brushing gently against the parchment rolls. She pauses by the window, where the breeze carries the faint scent of fresh bread. She could go to the kitchen. Sometimes the monks leave bits of cheese for her, sometimes warm milk in a shallow bowl. But today, she feels drawn elsewhere. She steps onto the windowsill and looks outward. The hills roll far. In the distance, fields of wheat bend in the wind. A lone shepherd walks across a ridge, his flock following slowly, like clouds drifting through grass. Bryn watches until they disappear beyond a grove of trees. Then she turns and leaps back into the room. She walks to the back corner of the library, a place even the monks rarely visit. Here, the floor changes. Stone gives way to wood. The air cools, and a faint scent of pine lingers, as though the boards remember the trees they once were. There is a small ladder here, tucked into the wall. It leads upward, to the narrow passage above the ceiling beams, a place where old scrolls are kept, and sometimes, even older stories. Bryn climbs it carefully. She fits perfectly between the rungs. Her paws move silently. Her tail trails behind her like a ribbon dot at the top. The space is dim and low, but to Bryn, it feels open. She walks slowly across the wooden slats, pausing to glance down through the cracks between beams. Below, the desks sit empty. The parchment waits. The room breathes. Up here, the scrolls are stored in bundles, tied with soft string. Some are wrapped in cloth. Others rest in carved boxes, marked with faded ink. Bryn noses one of the boxes open. Inside, she finds something unusual. Not words, not drawings, but a collection of small objects. A smooth river stone, a feather, striped white and grey, a pressed violet between two slips of glass, a lock of hair tied with blue thread, and a tiny book, no bigger than a hand. Bryn taps the book with her paw. Its cover is worn but soft. The pages smell like time. She presses her nose to the spine. Then she lies beside it. This is not a book made for reading. It is a memory book. Asterisk. Bryn knows these. They are created when words are not enough. When something must be remembered, not with language, but with feeling. She closes her eyes and listens. The memory rises slowly. A young monk, walking in the orchard at dusk. A letter held tightly in his hand. The sky pink with fading light. He stops by the pear tree and buries the stone, ties the feather into his robe, writes the first page of the tiny book before sunrise. It is a promise, not to be broken, not to be spoken aloud, only to be kept. Bryn breathes in the scent of the feather, the warmth of the stone, the sweetness of the violet, all still held here. She places her paw on the lid of the box and closes it gently. The memory returns to sleep. Outside, the breeze shifts. A bird chirps from a window ledge. The floor below creaks softly. Bryn steps back toward the ladder. She descends slowly, feeling each rung beneath her feet. Back to the floor, back to the open air. The monks are returning from the meal. Their sandals tap quietly on the flagstones. Their hands carry folded linens and new quills. Bryn walks to the main archway and sits in the center of the floor. She watches them pass. They nod to her as they go, as if acknowledging a quiet keeper of the hall. One of them, a young monk named Brother Leo, pauses and kneels beside her. "You always know where to be," he says. Bryn looks up at him. He smiles, then places a small, round biscuit by her paws. "For you," he whispers. Then he stands and moves on. Bryn eats slowly. The biscuit is soft and warm, flavored with honey and herbs from the garden. She finishes and licks her paw once, then settles. Near the window again, the afternoon sunlight rests on her back. The scrolls beside her glow gently. The room hums with soft movement. And once again, the library breathes. The hours lean gently into afternoon. The library is full again, but never crowded. Each monk works quietly at his place. A page is turned, a brush rinsed, a sigh let out, barely louder than the sound of ink gliding across vellum. Sunlight filters through high arched windows. Its angle has changed. Now it slants low, spilling golden light across the worn stone floor, illuminating dust that drifts slowly in the hush of the room. Bryn lies in that light, stretched out long, her fur catching the warmth, one paw draped over the edge of a wooden bench, her eyes half closed. The light touches her like a gentle hand. She does not sleep, not quite, but she rests in the same way the library does, still aware, humming softly inside, somewhere near the east wall. Brother Marcus hums while he writes. It's a melody from the outer villages, a tune carried in from a traveler 2 seasons ago. The monks do not sing it aloud, but they remember. Bryn's ears flick at the sound. The humming winds gently through the air like ivy climbing a wall. No urgency, no goal, only presence. She lifts her head and stretches, slow and long, then stands. She walks through the light and across the room, weaving between the tall shelves, past stacks of bound codices and jars of pigment lined up like miniature stained glass windows. Her path leads her to the far west side, a narrow alcove with a single chair and a tall, arched window. This is the quietest spot in the library. Even the breeze passes more softly here. The walls curve slightly inward. The shelves hold only one kind of book, letters, not books written for the public, but for the soul. Letters between monks and their families, letters to saints, letters to God. Some are very old, others are never opened. Bryn steps up onto the chair, then to the low ledge of the window. The stone is warm. She settles down, paws tucked beneath her. Outside, the garden has shifted again. The bees have slowed. The wind stirs only the tips of the tall grass. The sun hovers above the hills, painting everything in a golden hush. Bryn watches the leaves move, then tilts her head. A soft flutter of parchment stirs behind her. She turns. One of the letter books is open, not from wind, not from hands. The pages breathe on their own. She steps down and pads closer. The letter on the open page is short, only a few lines, written in a steady, slanted hand. It reads, "To the one who comes after. If you are reading this, then the library still stands. Let it be a place of breath and stillness. Let it be guarded, not with walls, but with care. We trusted the silence to carry our voices forward." Bryn brushes her cheek along the edge of the page. The letter isn't new. Its corners are worn. Its ink has faded slightly, but its message remains. Not just written, felt. She sits beside it for a while, eyes closed, ears turned to the slow rhythm of the day. Outside, the sun has begun to dip lower. The golden glow fades to amber. The sky turns from soft blue to a warmer grey. Bryn rises and walks back toward the central hearth. The fire has not been relit, but there are coals beneath the ash. Faint orange still glows at the core. Brother Elric passes by and pauses. He kneels and adds a few dry logs, then leans close and breathes gently. The flame returns, small at first, then stronger. It crackles softly. Bryn sits nearby, the firelight dancing across her fur. This is how the evenings begin, not with bells, not with commands, but with small acts of care. The monks finish their writing for the day. They clean their quills. They stack their papers. They return books to their proper shelves, whispering thanks as they do. Each action is slow, each motion full of intention. Bryn watches them. She has watched for years, through seasons of rain tapping against glass, through nights when the wind howled through the tower, through festivals and fasts, through loss and laughter. She has watched and remembered. And now, she prepares. She walks once more around the library's edge, checks the scrolls, listens to the books, nudges a door until it clicks closed, pauses near the ink cupboard, where one jar sits uncapped. Brother Leo notices and turns back. He smiles as he places the lid on properly. "Thank you," he murmurs. Bryn blinks. She steps once more into the center of the room, the fire behind her, the books all around. Outside the windows, the sky deepens to lavender. Inside, the candle racks are lit again. Tiny flames flicker to life, one by one, filling the room with soft, golden light. The day is nearly done, and Bryn is red. Evening settles like a silk shawl over the monastery. The light is now soft and blue-gray. The warmth of the sun has faded, replaced by the hush of shadows and flickering candlelight. The windows reflect the glow from within, as if the library itself were holding the last light of the day. The monks begin to gather their things. Chairs scrape gently, robes rustle, low voices exchange brief farewells, some with a hand on the shoulder, others with a simple nod. They know that words spoken here stay within the walls, not out of secrecy, but because peace is best preserved with silence. Bryn walks slowly through the center aisle. She passes Brother Elric, who carefully closes the main ledger. His fingers trace the leather cover once before tying it with a thin cord. Near the southern window, Brother Tomas places his final page to dry. The fox he painted, still curled inside the capital O, catches the candlelight and seems to glow from within. He looks toward Bryn. "Another day, little one," he whispers. She pauses, meeting his eyes, then walks on the fire in the hearth. Is now a soft bed of embers, no crackling, no flames, only a quiet heat, perfect for warming stone and thought. Bryn returns to her favorite cushion, a small, worn pad, tucked beneath the large window overlooking the cloister. She circles twice, then curls herself into a tight spiral. The world narrows to warmth, to light, to the faint scent of pressed flowers and wood smoke. Outside, the courtyard darkens. The shadows stretch long across the stones. A breeze lifts the edge of a tapestry. Leaves rustle in the pear tree. The fountain continues to whisper in its gentle, endless rhythm. From the chapel, the evening chant begins. A dozen voices rise together in soft harmony, not loud, not meant to carry, just enough to fill the air like incense. Bryn listens. She knows this chant. She has heard it every night of her life. Each note moves with slow, deliberate care. Each pause between lines is a doorway into stillness. The candles flicker. The light dances across the scroll racks, the globes, the carved shelves. Somewhere, parchment shifts quietly on its own. A page turning from memory. A book sighing with the weight of years. Bryn's breathing slows. She presses her paws tighter. Beneath her chest, the monks' voices fall gently now, descending, settling, like birds folding their wings at the close of day. Outside, a few stars begin to show. The moon has not yet risen, but the sky is beginning to open. One by one, the monks leave the library. They pass by the main arch in silence. A few glance back. Some smile softly. They do not speak to Bryn, but they nod, as if to say, "Guard this, as you always do." And she does. When the last footstep fades, Bryn rises again. She is alone now. The library is hers. The books rest. The scrolls dream. The fire sleeps. She walks one final circuit. To the poetry shelf. To the archive door. To the north alcove where the letters live. To the candle racks, now low and glowing. To the great desk in the center where Brother Elric writes his weekly thoughts. All is in its place. She walks past the mural of St. Jerome and the lion. The lion looks down with gentle eyes. Bryn pauses a moment, then moves on. She returns once more to the chest of memory books. It waits, as it always does, in the shadows of the southern wall. Its wood is dark and smooth, its latch worn from age, not from use. Bryn opens it with a soft press of her paw. Inside, the 7 blank books remain, resting on velvet. Each one silent, each one waiting. She chooses the third one tonight, the one wrapped in silver thread. She presses her forehead to the cover. The thread glows faintly. The book opens. No words appear, not right away, but then, gently, like mist clearing from a morning field, lines begin to emerge. Soft ink, pale script. The book records a fox painted into a letter. A feather laid beside a stone. A memory of the timekeeper lighting the candle with reverence. A letter, short and holy, left unread for centuries. A biscuit left beside soft paws, still warm. Bryn does not write. She does not speak. But the library remembers through her. She closes the book. The ink fades, leaving the pages white again. Only the memory remains. She returns the book to its resting place, closes the lid, presses it shut with one gentle paw. Outside, the wind has grown cooler. The stars brighten. A hush settles across the monastery, and Bryn walks slowly to the hearth, where the embers still glow. She lies down once more, tail tucked, eyes soft, heart still. Night has fallen, not suddenly but gently, as if a soft curtain has been drawn across the sky. Outside the windows, the stars shimmer like distant bells. Their light is cool, quiet, and old. Inside, the library glows softly. Only a few candles remain lit, their flames small and steady. They do not flicker now. They hum. Bryn lies by the hearth, her body curled like a comma in a poem. The stone floor beneath her is warm from the fire. Her breathing is slow, even peaceful. The shelves around her stand tall in the stillness. No movement, no pages turning, only the breath of the room. If you listened closely, you might almost hear it. The way wood settles, the way paper rests, the way history, when tended gently, does not sleep but waits. Bryn's ears twitch once. A soft sound echoes far above. Not loud, not sharp, a rustle in the upper beams. The roof speaks in whispers sometimes. Wood creaks from the warmth of day, giving way to the cool of night. Stone sighs as it releases the sun. Bryn lifts her head, not alarmed, just aware. She listens. Nothing more stirs. She rises and walks toward the central aisle once more. Her paws make no sound. She moves like a ribbon, through shadow and light, past the desk where Tomas left his illuminated letters, past the globe that spins slowly when the windows are open, past the empty ladder that leads to the archive loft. She stops by the window. The moon has risen now, a pale silver arc above the hills. Its light washes the garden, turning the leaves into silver coins and the stones into quiet mirrors. Bryn watches the breeze lift the tall grass, watches it bend, then still, and in that silence, she remembers that there were other cats before her, not many, but a few. The monks do not speak of them, but the books remember. The scrolls hold tiny claw marks. In their corners, some of the older ledgers have a smudge of fur pressed between pages. a curl of tail inked by accident on the edge of a map. The cats were always here, not as pets, not as guards, not as listeners, as keepers, as those who know how to move without disturbing, to remain without being noticed. Bryn walks along the window ledge. She sits near the smallest pane. The glass here is older, blown by hand. It ripples slightly, making the stars shimmer like water. She presses her forehead against the cool glass and waits. Minutes pass, or longer. Time softens here. It does not rush. At last, Bryn stands and walks back toward the southern wall. The memory chest is closed. The candles are nearly spent. She returns to the scroll shelf and lies down beneath it. This is where she was born, behind the lowest shelf, in the corner where parchment is stored in linen rolls. Her mother, a striped tabby with pale gold eyes, had chosen this place. Warm, quiet, safe. Bryn closes her eyes. She remembers her first days, blind, small. The world only scent and warmth. The monks had discovered her only after she opened her eyes. Brother Elric had said she chose the library. Brother Tomas had smiled. Or the library chose her. Bryn's whiskers twitch in her sleep. She dreams now not of memories, but of soft shapes. She dreams of quills that write without hands, of ink that glows faintly in the dark, of books that sing when no one is near. She dreams of an underground room, deep beneath the scriptorium, where forgotten languages whisper their names to the stone. She dreams of walking through it all silent, wrapped in stillness. In her dream, the monks are long gone. The library stands empty, but Bryn remains, a small presence in a long memory. The books still breathe, the walls still hum, the candles still burn. Because she is there, she keeps the rhythm, she holds the quiet. She guards the story. Not with claws, not with force. But with presence. And peace. The moon has climbed high. It casts long silver beams across the floor of the library. Every edge is softened. The corners no longer dark, just deeper shades of calm. The candles are nearly gone. A few remain, flickering low. They gutter and lean, wax pooling in tiny halos around the base. Their light dances softly across shelves and stone. Bryn sleeps beneath the scroll shelf. Her breathing is deep, steady. She is folded in upon herself, tail tucked neatly to her chin. Her ears flick once as a breeze slips through the windows, a breeze that carries no chill, only the scent of pine and parchment and stars. Above her, the books are silent, not empty, ever empty, but quiet. Some of them are centuries old. Their spines creak when opened. Their pages have grown thin at the edges, like leaves pressed flat in autumn. They are not read often anymore. But Bryn knows that does not mean they are forgotten. Not everything must be read to be remembered. She dreams on. In her dream the monastery is the same, and not the same. The walls are taller, the bells softer, the garden full of blue blossoms she has never seen. She walks the halls alone, but not lonely. The rooms remember her. They open gently before she arrives. The floors warm beneath her paws. The candles light with her breath. She climbs to the highest tower. One step, then another. Stone spirals rise in slow circles. Each window reveals a moon that grows larger with each level. At the top, she finds a chamber of glass. The roof is crystal. The stars shine through. Here, the books are not bound. They drift in the air, glowing faintly, their words forming soft trails of light. One book floats down to her paws. It opens slowly. A breeze flips the pages. The story inside is familiar. It begins in a stone library, with a striped kitten, with a monk carrying candles, with a promise not written, but felt. Bryn's eyes close, even in her dream. She lies down on the crystal floor. The book hovers above her. The words settle like snow, and when she wakes, she is back in the real library. The fire is out now. Only warmth remains in the stone. The last candle has finished its song. Its wick curls inward. The smoke rises softly, then fades into the rafters. Bryn stretches, slow and silent. She steps from beneath the scroll shelf and returns to the center of the room. Everything is still, not frozen, alive in silence. She walks to the desk where the monks keep the daily ledger. The book is closed, but the inkwell remains uncut. Bryn nudges it gently. The lid rolls to the side, then stops. She sits beside it, staring at the book. It does not open, but she knows what's inside. Today's entry will speak of peace, of order, of nothing unusual, because peace itself is worth writing down. She listens. Outside, an owl calls once. From the pear tree, a low, echoing note that settles and fades. Bryn walks slowly to the cloister door. It's ajar, just slightly. The night air moves through the opening like a breath. She steps outside. The courtyard is silver and blue. No voices, no footsteps, only the quiet shapes of the garden sleeping beneath the moon. She walks past the fountain. Its waters still trickle gently, not for attentions, just because it always has. She walks beneath the arches, past stone benches, cool with dew, past rosemary bushes curled in shadow, past the sundial that now reflects only starlight. She pauses beside the chapel wall. Its surface is warm, even now. It holds the day's sun-like memory. She presses against it once, then turns and climbs the steps to the bell tower. The bell will not ring tonight. There is no need, but Bryn wants to see the stars from higher up. Each step is smooth beneath her paws. She knows them all. At the top, the air is different, cooler, wider, full of silence and stars. She steps onto the ledge and curls up beneath the arch. Below her, the monastery sleeps, the garden, the hallways, the scriptorium, the library. She can see it all. And beyond that, the hills, the faint shimmer of a river in the distance, the trees waving like old hands. Above her, the sky is full, not just stars, but space. Space to breathe, to dream. She rests her chin on her paws. She does not sleep again. Not yet. She watches, and the monastery, the books, the candles, the stories, they rest beneath her care. The stars are quiet now. Even the breeze has fallen still. The world holds its breath in peaceful darkness. Up in the bell tower, Bryn lies curled in shadow, and moonlight, her body tucked neatly into the curve of old stone. Her ears flick once, then still again. She watches, and as she watches, she listens, not with her ears, but with something deeper, something older, the kind of listening that hears what silence has to say. Below, the library breathes slowly. Its shelves rest. Its scrolls dream. The ink within each book lies undisturbed, but not forgotten. The monks sleep in their cells, their robes folded, their candles snuffed. Some of them dream in Latin, some in music, some in color, and one brother Tomos dreams of the fox he painted today. In his dream, the fox walks from the page and curls at his feet. It speaks no words, but he understands. Bryn blinks once. She feels the shift in the monastery's breath. Night is not a single thing. It moves in layers, shadows folding into deeper shadows, stillness melting into stiller stillness. She rises and walks the length of the tower once more, each step silent, each step known, and the library sleeps. When she reaches the stairs, she pauses, looking back once at the stars, at the soft hills wrapped in mist, at the memory of a time before even she was here. Then she descends. The spiral staircase welcomes her. It knows her pause, knows the way her shadow curves across the wall, knows the small weight of her body, steady and sure. She returns to the cloister. The garden now sleeps in full. The lavender no longer stirs. The fountain's trickle is the only sound, soft as a lullaby. She walks beneath the arches, the stone cool against her pads. She passes a moth resting on a pillar. It does not fly, just waits. Bryn returns to the library door, still open, always open. She steps inside. The air has cooled. The fire is long gone now. The embers dark, but the room does not feel cold. It feels timeless, as though the walls have wrapped themselves in a heavy cloak, a cloak of story and memory and breath. She moves through the aisles. The books greet her in silence, not with words, but with presence, each one resting, each one waiting. Bryn walks past the desk, past the great map of the known world, past the mural of St. Jerome. She stops once more at the chest of memory books. She does not open it. She only sits beside it, because sometimes it is enough just to be near the thing that remembers. The moonlight drifts through the high windows. It falls in silver pools across the floor, across the old wood, across Bryn's back. She turns her head and begins to groom, soft, slow strokes of her tongue, cleaning, calming, each motion measured, soothing, like the turning of pages, like the ticking of an invisible clock. When she is finished, she rises and walks once more to the bench near the west wall. The monks will return here soon, not yet, but before too long. The candle rack will be lit for morning prayers. The books will be opened again. Ink will stain fingers. Words will return to the air. But not now. Now is for stillness. Bryn curls on the bench. The cushion holds her shape perfectly, as though it has been waiting for her all along. She rests her chin on her front. Pause. Closes her eyes and lets herself sink into the hush. Not asleep, not entirely, but drifting. The kind of drifting that only comes when every corner of the world is in its place. No threat, no question, no weight, only trust and time, and the turning of night into dawn. The night is at its deepest now. That quiet hour when the stars seem closest, when the world holds its stillest breath, when even time itself feels as though it's curled up, resting. Inside the library, the silence is full. It is not empty or cold. It is velvet soft and heavy. With memory, Bryn lies on the cushion near the west wall. Her eyes are closed, her body warm, her breathing steady as the rhythm of parchment turning in a quiet hand. The moonlight has shifted again. It moves slowly across the stone floor, reaching the edge of the scriptorium shelves. It pulls around the base of the globe. It rests on the mural's golden trim. Everything glows faintly now, but gently, as if even the light does not wish to wake the books. Bryn stirs, only slightly. She lifts her head and turns it toward the center of the room. Something soft has changed. Not a sound, not a movement, just a feeling like a page has turned somewhere beyond hearing. She rises, she stretches long, slow, careful. First her front legs, then her back. Then she walks once more through the library. This time, her steps are even quieter. As if she is walking through a dream someone else is having, she stops beneath the high window near the candle rack. The sky outside has softened. The black of night is turning too deep, indigo blue. The stars remain, but they shimmer more faintly. The first breath of morning lingers at the horizon. Bryn sits. She knows this hour well. This is the moment before return, before the monks rise from sleep, before the bells stir, before the garden stretches in the first golden light. It is the turning of the world, but it happens without sound, only feeling. She closes her eyes, and in the stillness, she remembers the first time she saw morning through the library window. She was small then, her paws still unsteady, her fur still soft from kittenhood. Brother Elric had carried her to the bench and whispered, "Watch," and so she had. She remembered how the light came slowly, touching the floor like a blessing. She remembered how it smelled like warm stone and lavender. She remembered the way the candles melted into sunlight, as if they had done their job, and could now rest. She opens her eyes again. The edge of that light is coming. Bryn stands and walks toward the main aisle. She passes the scroll racks. She passes the desk. She passes the empty chair beside the arched window. Then she leaps gently to the sill. From here, the garden is still, but not asleep. The rosemary is beginning to wake. The fountain's tone is just slightly higher. A bird calls once from the cloister roof. Bryn watches the sky brighten. Blue turns to pearl. Pearl turns to soft gold. The light touches the tops of the hills, the fields, the upper windows. The monastery breathes in. Bryn blinks slowly. She stays on the windowsill as the first morning rays spill into the room. They move across the stone, across the cushion, across the books. The library is waking, but gently. Bryn climbs down. She walks slowly to the center of the room, where the morning light forms a soft circle on the floor. She lies in it, lets the warmth settle over her, lets the day begin around her. The monks will arrive soon. They will light new candles. They will speak in soft voices. They will open the doors and greet the day. And Bryn will watch. She does not need to move. She does not need to speak. Her presence is enough. And as the first sandal footsteps echo in the hall, as the light grows stronger, as the bells prepare to ring once more, the cat who guards the library closes her eyes again, and lets the morning arrive on its own. The sun has risen, not in a rush, but with patience, spreading pale gold across the monastery's rooftops, spilling gently into the windows, laying soft warmth across ancient stones. Inside the library, light touches every corner. It glows against the spine of a leather-bound psalter. It warms the handle of a drawer filled with pressed rose petals. It reaches high up the columns, catching motes of dust that drift like pollen in the still morning air. Bryn remains in the center of the room. She does not stir right away. The warmth of the sunlight is like a second skin, weightless, but holding. Outside, a quiet rhythm begins. The first bell rings from the chapel. Not loud, just enough. Its echo rolls softly across the courtyard. Bryn's ears turn toward the sound, but she doesn't move. She is used to it, comforted by it. From the east wing footsteps approach sandals on stone, the gentle sweep of robes. Brother Elric is the first to enter. He does so slowly, pausing just inside the archway. His eyes fall on Bryn. He smiles. "Good morning, Keeper," he murmurs. Bryn blinks once, then stretches a long, graceful motion that arches her back and extends her paws across the warm stone. The light shifts as she moves. Brother Elric lights the first candle of the day. Its flame flutters for only a moment, then steadies. Soon more monks arrive. Brother Tomas with his brush roll, Brother Leo with a tray of clean parchment, Brother Simon carrying fresh water for the inkwells. Their voices are quiet, their greetings soft. It is not a rush of noise. It is not the start of a busy day. It is a return, a continuation. The room that slept through the night now breathes again. Chairs are pulled out, windows are unlatched, books are opened with care. Bryn walks slowly through the room. She passes each monk, rubbing lightly against robes, stepping carefully between benches and legs. They nod to her. Some whisper her name. Some offer a gentle scratch behind the ear. She chooses one spot, near Brother Tomas, where a new page waits to be painted. She curls herself into a small circle beside his bench. He dips his brush in ochre, begins to draw the first stroke of a sun. Outside the windows, the garden glows. The pear tree glistens with dew. Birdsong flits between arches and rooftops. A bee drifts past the sill, buzzing softly before vanishing back into the light. Bryn watches without watching. She is not alert, not focused, but she sees everything. The way Brother Simon holds his quill, the way Brother Leo leans slightly forward when he reads aloud to himself, the way Brother Elric occasionally pauses just to listen to the room breathe. She has watched these things for years, and they never grow old. The candle rack is nearly full now. Its flames cast a golden rhythm across the shelves, like sunlight that remembers how to flicker. The books on the front table are open, some with text, some with music, some with sketches of herbs and stars. Bryn lies in the heart of it all, still quiet, content. She does not speak. She does not ask. She only holds the room together with her presence, and the library responds. It settles into its shape, stone and story, silence and sound, memory and motion, all of it woven together with warmth and words, and the small, steady shape of a cat who has always belonged here. The day has taken hold, softly, not in haste. Golden light fills the scriptorium like warm breath. It rests on pages, on robes, on the smooth stone floor that remembers footsteps from centuries past. Outside, the garden is fully awake. Bees hum in the rosemary. A dove coos softly on the cloister ledge. The fountain's rhythm continues, steady and eternal, like the heartbeat of the monastery itself. Inside, the monks are settled, each man at his work, each quill guided with care. The scratching of ink on parchment becomes its own kind of music, so gentle, so patient. Bryn lies beside Brother Tomas. His brush moves with such stillness, his hand barely lifts between strokes. Today, he paints the letter M, a monastery gate surrounded by curling ivy. Tiny gold dots mark where blossoms will be added later. She watches, her eyes half closed. Each breath she takes rises and falls with the hush of the room. Time slows again. There is no rush here. There never has been. A single page may take a day, or two, or a week. No one minds. They are not racing toward an ending. They are dwelling in the act of creation. As monks once said, laborare est ore. To work is to pray. Bryn shifts slightly, stretching out her front paws, then folding them again beneath her chest. A curl of sunlight moves slowly across her back. Brother Tomas reaches into a small wooden tray and removes a sliver of malachite. He grinds it in a bowl, adds a few drops of gum arabic, and dips his brush. The green pigment shimmers faintly in the light. He paints the ivy leaves with such care. They seem to breathe. Bryn closes her eyes. The room behind her continues to hum. Books open, ink dries, pages are turned with fingers that know how to wait. At the far end of the scriptorium, Brother Elric copies a line of ancient Greek. He murmurs the words softly as he writes them, not for anyone else, just to keep their shape in the air. Hears none of the meaning, but the tone of his voice is like a lullaby, measured, low, rhythmic. She lets it carry her. not into sleep, but into that quiet place between waking and dreaming, where the world moves slowly, and everything glows. Somewhere nearby, a feather falls from a shelf. It lands without sound. A monk lifts his head and smiles, then returns to his work. This is how days pass in the library, with grace, with patience, with trust. Bryn is part of it all. She is not a visitor, not a pet, not a passing curiosity. She is woven into the pattern, like the weave in a tapestry, like the breath between prayers. The library would go on without her, but it would not feel the same. She is its quiet thread, the one that holds without pulling, the one that guides without needing to be seen. She rises, walks slowly across the floor. The morning has warmed. The stone beneath her paws is sun-warmed and smooth. She steps into the beam of light that shines through the highest window. For a moment, she is golden. Then she moves again, toward the west wall, toward the shelf where the oldest books sleep. These are the volumes bound in oak boards and wrapped in linen. Books with metal clasps. Books with pages as thick as bark. Bryn walks past them, one by one. She pauses beside the shelf labeled Anima, soul texts, writings meant for reflection, for silence, for those who know that not all knowledge must be spoken. She does not climb the shelf. She only rests beside it, as if to say, I remember you, and I will keep remembering. The sun has climbed higher, but inside the library, time feels untouched. Here, the light never rushes. It glides, tracing slow patterns across the stone floor, gilding the edges of books and shelves, making dust motes shimmer like stars. The monks work in silence, not out of discipline, but devotion. Each motion is a meditation, each letter drawn by hand a kind of quiet offering. Bryn lies near the Anima shelf. The floor beneath her is warm now. She stretches, her back paws sliding out behind her, her body long and still, her ears turned softly toward the sounds of the room, the scrape of a chair being moved, the whisper of a robe as a monk bends over a page, the soft drip of water into the glass ink dish. Familiar, reassuring, a language without words. From time to time, a monk rises and walks toward the inner cabinet, a tall structure carved from chestnut, where rare pigments and pressed leaves are kept. The cabinet creaks gently as it opens. Inside, rows of tiny drawers hold beetle shells, lapis lazuli, crushed pearl, saffron threads wrapped in silk. Each ingredient labeled by hand, each with a purpose, not just for beauty, but for meaning. Brother Leo chooses a vial of ground cinnabar. He returns to his place and begins a red capital letter AC, coiled like a snail, lined with gold. Bryn watches the red appear on parchment. She blinks slowly, then closes her eyes again. She is not asleep, but not fully awake either. She is in that space only cats know how to hold, somewhere between the flicker of a candle and the breath between thoughts. The rhythm of the room continues. Scratch, pause, dip, scratch, turn, breathe. A pattern older than clocks, wiser than time. Bryn rises once more. She walks along the western aisle, passing the shelves marked Hortus, where books on plants and healing are kept. Drawings of herbs line the margins, tiny bees buzzing in the corners, leaves shaded in soft green and yellow. Brother Simon is here. He is reading a recipe for ink made from oak galls. He nods to himself as he traces the Latin with his finger. Bryn brushes gently against his leg. He looks down and smiles. No mice in the ink today, he whispers. Bryn moves on. She walks to the alcove near the northern wall. It's a small sunlit nook, filled with books that no longer have covers. Their titles are long gone, but the pages still speak. Monks call them the quiet texts, the ones you do not study, but listen to. Bryn curls up beneath the window. The light from outside forms a gentle square on the floor beside her. She rests her chin on her paw, tail wrapped lightly around her side. Outside, the breeze stirs the leaves in the cloister garden, not loudly, just enough to sound like the soft turn of a page. Inside, the scent of parchment, wax, and lavender drifts gently through the air. Another monk enters, Brother Augustine. He moves more slowly than the others. His hands tremble slightly, but his presence is deep and steady. He walks to the prayer shelf, selects a volume bound in faded blue, and carries it to the bench nearest Bryn. He sits without sound, opens the book. His eyes close. He does not read aloud. He simply listens to the space between the words, and the room listens with him. Bryn does not move. She lies still, wrapped in sunlight, wrapped in peace, and for a long, gentle moment, the library holds still with her. Time flows gently now, like honey from a spoon. The morning has deepened, but inside the stone library, the hours are not measured by clocks. They are measured by the angle of light, the weight of silence, the turning of a single page. Bryn rests beneath the northern window. The sunlight has shifted. What was once a square of gold beside her is now a thin beam reaching toward the prayer shelf. But she does not chase it. She simply lies still, wrapped in quiet. The monks remain at their work, each one with his task, his focus, his own gentle rhythm. Brother Tomos is painting vines now, winding through the letter M. He began earlier. Tiny birds are hidden in the leaves. No one told him to add them, but he does it anyway. Brother Elric has paused. He lifts his eyes and breathes in deeply, as though catching the scent of old wood and warm stone. Then, with a soft smile, he turns the page and continues. The air is filled with soft sounds, brush against paper, featherlight turning of pages, the distant flutter of a sparrow outside the window. Bryn opens one eye, watches a strip of linen blow gently on the sill. It's a bookmark, forgotten there from yesterday. It moves like a whisper. She rises slowly, stretching in a long curve, tail flicking once behind her. Then she walks once more into the light. Her paws make no sound. They never have. The stone knows her weight. It welcomes it. She walks along the base of the book wall. Each shelf smells faintly of ink and beeswax. Each binding carries its own small breath of time. Some smell of ash, as if they were once near fire. Some of pressed violets. Some like wool cloaks kept in cedar. She passes a basket filled with quills. She brushes it lightly with her side, and one feather falls, not quickly, but in a lazy spiral, as though it, too, is in no hurry. She continues, toward the table of illuminated folios. One book lies open. Its page glows with an image of a golden sun, rising over stylized hills. The script below reads, Fiat Lux, let there be light. Bryn steps closer. She places her front paws on the table's edge and peers into the page. It does not move, but she feels it, a stillness, a weight, as though the story held there is older than the ink, older than the parchment, older even than the hands that shaped it. She stays a moment longer, then steps back down. Across the room, the door opens. A breeze flows in, warm, gentle, carrying the scent of garden thyme and morning dew. Bryn lifts her nose slightly, then walks toward the door. Outside, the courtyard glows. The cloister garden is at its peak now, roses blooming wide in the sun, mint curling around the base of the well. She steps onto the stone path. The sunlight touches her back, a soft warmth that wraps her without pressing. The doves scatter from the fountain and settle again on the arch. The bell has not rung, but the day continues. Carried by motion too soft to hear, Bryn walks the edge of the garden. She does not stray into the sun too long. She pauses beneath the rosemary, then continues to the patch of soft grass beside the sundial. There, she lies, down once more, this time, in shadow. The stone beside her holds just enough warmth. The earth smells of roots. The air hums with bees. She closes her eyes again and listens, not to voices, not to footsteps, but to the slow unfolding of peace. The day begins to lean into afternoon. The sun, once high and white above the courtyard, now dips into a softer gold. Its light warmer, heavier, like a shawl draped gently across the shoulders of the world. In the garden beside the sundial, Bryn still lies in the shade. The grass beneath her is cool. A breeze moves lazily across the cloister, carrying the faintest scent of lemon balm and crushed lavender. She does not sleep, not fully, but her body is still, and her breath has slowed around her. The world moves gently. The monks have taken their midday meal. The chapel bell rang softly just once, and they return to their duties without hurry. Brother Elric now tends the shelves near the back wall, dusting bindings with a cloth soaked in sage water. He hums quietly as he works, a low tune, like something remembered from long ago. Brother Tomas has gone to the herbarium. His brushes rest in a cup of clean water. A single unfinished line waits on the vellum page, a vine reaching for a leaf. That will come later. Inside the library, the light has shifted. It no longer reaches the tops of the windows. Instead, it pools low on the floor, casting long shadows behind the reading desks. curling softly beneath the carved benches. Bryn rises. Slowly, she walks back toward the archway. Her steps are measured, unhurried. The stone beneath her paws is warmer now. It holds the echo of the sun's path. She enters the library again, and the hush greets her like a familiar friend. Nothing startles, nothing changes. Her return is simply part of the day. She walks the outer aisle once more, past shelves she's passed 1,000 times, past scrolls that crackle gently when touched, past the map room where a globe spins slowly on its brass axis, turning not from fingers but from the breath of the room itself. She passes Brother Leo, who is transcribing a book on healing charms. His lips move as he writes. Bryn hears only pieces: fever, sweet root, boil in spring water. She moves on. To the alcove near the back of the library. A quiet place. It holds no desks, no inkpots, just cushions on the floor, a single low bench, and books of reflection. Books written not to be studied, but to be felt. Bryn steps onto a cushion, turns twice, then settles again. From here, she can see nearly the whole room. The monks moving softly, the light curling through old windows, the shelves, tall and calm, the air, still and heavy with the scent of linen and beeswax. She rests her chin on her paw. A single fly hums past. She does not chase it. She only listens. The fly vanishes, and silence returns. The silence here is not empty. It is full. Full of all the things never spoken, the thoughts never written, the stories that pass between minds without ever touching parchment. Bryn blinks once, slow and long. Her tail flicks once, then rests still. The hours pass like water dripping from a worn stone basin. One drop, then another, each moment, soft and round. The light begins to pale. Afternoon leans toward evening, but not yet. There is still time. Time for the quiet. Time for the warmth. Time to listen to the space between sounds. Bryn does not move, not yet. She is as much a part of the room as the shelves, as the sun, as the quiet breath of parchment and ink. And the library, in turn, holds her, not in arms, not in walls. But in stillness. And trust. And peace. Asterisk. The afternoon hush deepens outside the tall arched windows. The sunlight turns amber, that quiet golden hour when everything looks softer, as if seen through a veil of honey. The monks are finishing their day's work. Brushes are rinsed, inkpots closed, pages blotted and gently stacked beneath polished stones. The rustle of parchment fades. Voices, when they come, are barely above a whisper. Brother Leo gathers his notes with care, his hands slow from hours of delicate writing. Brother Tomas covers his illuminated page with a square of soft cloth, folded at the edges like the corners of a cradle. Bryn lies near the prayer alcove still. She watches through half-closed eyes. The warmth of the cushion beneath her, the smell of candle wax melting into its brass dish, the tick of the wooden globe in the map corner. These are the sounds of a monastery preparing for dusk. She rises, not because she must, but because the moment calls for motion. A quiet stretch, a long blink. Then she walks to the center of the room, where a single shaft of golden light still rests like a ribbon laid gently across the stone. She steps into it. Her fur glows, her whiskers catch the light like silver threads, and for a moment, the entire library seems to pause with her. No movement, no breath, just stillness. Then the bell rings. 3 soft notes from the cloister tower, the signal that the day's work has ended. Bryn turns toward the sound. The monks begin to rise, one by one, in no rush. Brother Elric closes the last book, his fingers smoothing the cover like the final line of a prayer. They leave the room slowly, robes brushing softly against the stone. No one speaks to Bryn as they pass. They know she will remain. They trust her with the room. The great wooden door swings gently shut behind them, and the hush deepens again. Bryn walks slowly across the floor. She checks each corner, each bench, each shelf, not with urgency, not with suspicion, but as a keeper does. She reaches the candle rack. Only a few flames remain short, flickering, their light dancing faintly along the wall. She sits beside them and watches as the wax pools, watches as the shadows stretch the sky. Outside shifts from gold to rose, then from rose to lavender. Bryn rises and moves toward the eastern window. The glass is uneven, bubbled and wavy, but through it, she sees the garden below. The fountain is still. The herbs no longer sway. Even the bees have returned to their hives. The world is folding inward, gently preparing for night. Inside, the library follows suit. The final candle sputters once, then fades. The walls grow darker, but not cold, never cold. The stone has stored the day's warmth, and it breathes it out, now, slowly and steadily. Bryn returns to the cushion beneath the old mural. St. Jerome watches in silence, his painted eyes forever thoughtful. She curls into a soft circle. Her tail wraps around her nose. Her ears flick once, then settle. And the hush grows deeper still. This is not the hush of absence. It is the hush of memory, the hush of things safely kept, stories resting on shelves, prayers folded into pages, footsteps softened by centuries of devotion. Bryn breathes. She does not sleep yet, not fully, but her breathing is slow, even at peace. The first star appears above the eastern cloister, and still she lies in silence, the last warm thread holding the library into night. The light has gone, not all at once, but gently, like the closing of a well-worn book, or the final note of a lullaby. Outside the high windows, twilight settles like a shawl around the shoulders of the monastery. The sky glows faintly violet, touched at the edges by silver. No sun now, no bird song, only the slow hush of the coming night. Inside the library, the shadows stretch long and deep. They reach into corners, wrap around scroll racks, curl along the carved lintels above the shelves. Bryn lies beneath the mural still, her body a small, steady shape in the growing dim. She is awake, but calm. Her eyes reflect what little light remains. Twin golden mirrors. She listens to the silence. Though silence isn't quite the right word, there are still sounds, soft ones. The creak of old wood as it settles. The low groan of the garden gate, shifting in the breeze. A drip of wax cooling on stone. They are sounds the world forgets to notice, but Bryn hears them all and welcomes them. She stands slowly, her legs stretch one at a time, unfolding like ribbon from a scroll. She walks the room one last time, not to patrol, but to accompany. To be with it, as night returns. She passes the candle rack. All flames are gone now, just little threads of smoke curling upward, vanishing before they touch the beams above. She passes the globe, which spins once in the faint current of the dark, a soft motion, like a memory. She stops beside the desk near the eastern aisle. A book remains open, left there by Brother Elric. Its page is a full illumination, a scene of a garden in bloom. A monk kneels with a watering jar. A cat sleeps on the wall beside him. Bryn looks at the page for a moment, then moves on. The hush wraps around her, not heavy, not cold, but warm, like a cloak pulled close at bedtime. Outside, a bell rings once. Vespers. Evening prayers have ended. Will go quiet now. Rooms darkened, robes folded, footsteps soft. Bryn reaches the far end of the Torium. She steps into a patch of shadow, and looks out through the narrow window slit that faces the distant hills. They are pale now, outlined in starlight. A single lantern burns in the garden, its flame steady behind the glass. The cloister fountain reflects the moon, broken softly by ripples. She watches, not with intent, just presence, the kind of watching that holds things gently, that says, "I see you," without a sound. She turns and walks to the heart of the library once more, each step silent, each breath slow. The room is dark now, but not empty. It is filled with sleep, with waiting, with the knowledge that morning will come again. Bryn climbs up onto the low bench near the prayer shelf. She circles once, then again. Finally, she curls into the smallest space she can make. Her head rests on her front paw, her tail covers her nose, her eyes close. Outside, the stars continue to bloom. Inside, the last bit of warmth lingers on the stones, and the cat, who guards the library, the silent keeper of candlelight and story, of scroll and shadow, of prayer and peace, slips into sleep, quiet as the turning of a page. The monastery sleeps, stone by stone, room by room. It rests beneath the velvet blanket of night. The garden is still. The water in the fountain no longer ripples. Even the leaves hold their breath. Above, the stars shimmer quietly, not bold, not loud, but patient. Inside the library, the air is cool. The warmth of the day lingers only in corners. Everything else is touched by shadow. The shelves stretch tall into the dark. The scrolls sleep, curled like petals. The floor glows faintly in the light of the moon, its path spilling in through the eastern window. Bryn lies curled on the bench. She is still. She does not stir. Her breath moves slowly, each rise and fall like the turning of a quiet tide. The room hums with silence, not the silence of absence, but of presence, of long memory, of gentle keeping. In the far corner of the scriptorium, a tiny breeze slips through the window slit, carrying with it the scent of cool stone and the faintest trace of rosemary. It brushes past the candles, past the desk, past the painted mural, that it touches Bryn's fur, and she stirs, not in alarm, just enough to stretch a paw, shift her ear, and return to her circle. The breeze moves on. It drifts out again into the night. Joining the stars above the cloister, the hours pass, unmeasured, unhurried. One monk walks quietly through the courtyard. Anighttwatcher. His lantern glows soft and gold, casting circles of light that bob gently as he walks. He pauses once outside the library, listens, then continues on inside. Bryn lifts her head slightly, her eyes open just barely. She hears the lantern, knows the sound of that warm glass flicker. She's heard it every night for years. She watches the glow fade from the window, then lets her head lower again. The library settles even deeper. Books breathe together in the dark, not with sound, but with memory. But words sleep inside them, unfolded, unread, but waiting. Bryn has never read them, but she knows them. She's felt their presence, the pulse beneath the ink, the hush behind the pages. This is her world, more than the garden, more than the chapel, more than the cloister paths. Higher among dust and vellum, wax and wood, light and silence she belongs. Another hour passes. The stars wheel slowly above the abbey. Moonlight crosses the library floor, reaching one of the older scroll cases. Its lacquered edge gleams for just a moment, then fades. Bryn moves once more. She slips down from the bench, soft steps, quiet breath. She walks to the cushion near the west wall, the one the monks placed just for her. Long ago, she curls there, knees tucked beneath, tail curled to nose, and the hush deepens around her again. Outside, an owl calls from the garden gate. A single low note, then silence returns. Bryn does not answer. She is asleep now, fully, safely. Her ears still twitch in dream. Her whiskers move. Perhaps she is chasing something soft, or remembering something warm, the kind of memory cats keep to themselves. The night holds her close. It does not move quickly. It does not demand. It only offers darkness, cool and full of peace, and she takes it with full trust. She is not guarding now. There is nothing to guard against. The library is safe. The books are at rest. The world is still, and Bryn, the quiet keeper, sleeps on. It is the middle of the night, the kind of night so deep it feels as though time has forgotten to move forward. The sky outside is dark, but not empty. It is filled with stars, thousands of them, spilling over the abbey rooftops, settling like frost on the stone domes and towers. Inside the library, the darkness is complete, but not cold. It holds the warmth of yesterday's sun, stored gently, in the stones, in the wooden shelves, in the thick woven rugs that line the floors. Bryn sleeps on her cushion near the west wall. Her breathing is soft, even almost hidden. She is part of the room now, as natural and steady as the shelves, as the carved beams above, as the age-old air that smells faintly of cedar and vellum. Every now and then, her ears twitch, her whiskers move. She dreams. What does a cat like Bryn dream of? Perhaps of quiet corridors lit by morning sun, or a brushstroke curling over parchment, or the deep rhythmic hum of chanting monks just after dawn. The dream doesn't matter, only the peace it brings. Outside, a thin breeze stirs in the garden. It moves through the herbs, lavender, mint, lemon thyme, and carries their cool perfume back through the cloister walk. But the windows are shut tight. The library breathes only its own air, quiet, warm, still. No candle burns now, no lantern glows, but faint silver light from the stars touches the tops of the shelves. It's just enough to reveal the outlines, books stacked in gentle rows, a globe sleeping midspin, a stool tucked beneath the desk, and one small cat curled tight as a comma, the kind monks used to draw when their quills began to dull. The bell tower does not ring, not at this hour. Only the hush rings now. It echoes in the gaps between shelves, rolls along the floor like fog, rises into the beams above, where ancient cobwebs tremble ever so slightly in the quiet air. In the far end of the library, a loose shutter creaks once. It opens half an inch, then stills, and moonlight spills in, a sliver of silver that stretches slowly across the stone. It reaches the spine of an old book. One with no title, its edges frayed, its clasp worn smooth by time. Bryn, without waking, shifts her pause, as if even in sleep. She senses the light's path. The room holds steady. There is no reason for fear here, no shadow with sharp teeth, no sound that startles. Even the silence is friendly. It is the kind of silence that says, all is well. Sleep, you are safe. Outside, the moon continues to rise. Its soft light brushes the tops of the trees beyond the wall, glints faintly on the edge of the cloister fountain, and paints silver lines across the path that leads from garden to chapel. Somewhere in the distance, an owl glides through the dark. Its wings make no sound, just a quiet breath of wind that never reaches the windows. Inside the library, nothing stirs. Not the chairs, not the scrolls, not the cat. All is still, and in that stillness, there is comfort. The kind of comfort that lingers in old places, the kind that builds with time, the kind that hums beneath the surface of stone and wood and fur. The library does not sleep like a person, it sleeps like a place that knows how to wait. And Bryn, curled deep in its heart, sleeps with it. Together, they wait for morning. The world begins to turn toward morning. Not loudly, not quickly, but like the lifting of a veil, soft and slow. The stars above the abbey fade, one by one, until only the brightest remain, holding on, then disappearing into the pale blue breath of dawn. A hush still wraps the monastery, but it is a different hush now. Not the stillness of night, but the waiting quiet that comes just before the light returns. Inside the library, shadows begin to shift, very faintly, along the stone floor, along the wooden shelves, along the curled back of a sleeping cat. Bryn lies as she has all night, still, safe, wrapped in the warmth of her breath and the hush of books. But the light touches her now, just the thinnest thread of it, a grey pink line slipping through the eastern window. It moves across her paws, across the edge of her cushion, and slowly, gently, her ears begin to turn. She does not open her eyes, not yet. She only listens. The world is beginning again. Somewhere, far down the cloister hall, a monk stirs. His sandals touch the flagstones. A robe whispers against a wooden doorframe. The candle in the chapel will be lit soon, and with it, the first prayer. Still, Bryn stays curled. She knows the rhythm. She trusts the quiet. The library is not rushed by morning. It waits, and Bryn, too, waits. She stretches a long, slow pull of paws and spine. Her claws extend briefly. Her tail flicks once, then curls again. She rises to her feet, walks softly to the window. The glass is cloudy with age, but beyond it, the sky is changing. Lavender, at the edges, pale gold, growing near the horizon, and just above the garden wall, a single bird in flight. Bryn watches. The room behind her glows now, slowly returning to shape. Shelves, scrolls, desks, brushes, feathers, the globe, the mural of St. Jerome, all still here. Nothing lost in the dark, only resting. Soon, the monks will return. Brother Thomas will uncover his painted page. Brother Elric will whisper Greek as he writes. Brother Leo will grind colors into morning light, and Bryn will walk among them. She will pass the parchment, the inkpots, the dust and the gold. She will take her place again, a guardian of stillness, a keeper of quiet, but not yet. For now, she watches the first sunlight spill through the window. It touches her fur, turns it warm and bright, like a flame with no heat. She steps into the middle of the room, sits. And blinks once. Slowly, it is morning. The books are safe. The walls are steady. The hush has held through the night, and the cat who guards the library has done her part, not through warning, not through noise, but by simply being there, by walking the shelves, by watching the shadows, by sleeping beside stories no one else remembers. That is enough. That has always been enough. The door opens. Brother Augustine enters, his hands lit by the soft gold of sunrise. He sees Bryn. He bows his head. She blinks again, and the day begins.